Back to my live streaming. So I prepared for my title for this moment is all about healthy lifestyle improves cellular respiration. I don't think for so many titles, but only this title specific to subject. Okay, cellular respiration. Okay, it starts with glycolysis and then pyruvate, acetyl CoA, Krebs cycle, and then electricity, electron transport chain. So it looks like difficult, right? Really, it looks like difficult, really, because I'm not this biology graduate, but I'm really exploring my world to search more, read more like this, to research more about these aspects, and then through these stages, there are also chemical reactions involved, so I can easily understand also. Okay, that's why I can relate for the chemical reactions for this stages. Okay, cellular respiration. So cellular is very clear here that the word is cell. Okay, so meaning to say it's very obvious that's very important in our cell membrane. Okay, like that. Our organs inside our body is composed of so many millions of cells also. Okay, like that. Okay, respiration meaning respiratory system, meaning the main organ is responsible for this is the lung or are the lungs. Like that. Okay, respiration meaning process of the breathing through inhalation and exhalation. Okay, we inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide. Like this. So somewhere in oxygen is very essential here in cellular respiration. Okay, but there is also a process that oxygen is not involved. Okay, but our focus discussion is on the oxygen because it's really 95% up for the aerobic respiration. Okay, so actually we have two types of cellular respiration, the aerobic respiration and the anaerobic respiration. Okay, so this aerobic respiration involves the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration does not involve or without the presence of oxygen. And meaning remove, right? I told you before, if there is a word of an without, something like that. It's a prefix attached to a certain word. For example, anhydride. So it's not being hydrated, so no hydrogen, something like that. Okay. Analgesic substance, meaning pain reliever or painkiller, meaning to remove the pain. Analgesic, because gesic is a term refers to a pain. So analgesic, you just connect the words A and N or letters A and N. Okay? So this is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic. Now, if you talk about aerobic exercise, of course, it involves oxygen, right? This is aerobic exercise. Of course, even though you are inside the room, because there's still oxygen inside the room, right? You have the AC, you have the fan, like that. So, aerobic exercise, so basically, it can improve your cellular respiration, right? Okay, and also the physical exercises, okay, jogging, biking, walking, running, like that, and any other physical activities or workout with the gym, it improves your cellular respiration also. Okay, like that. And now we focus first the cellular respiration in this manner, ha, because this is cellular respiration. Later we will uh, aerobic respiration, okay, or aerobic process first, okay, and then later the anaerobic process or anaerobic respiration that does not involve oxygenator. Okay, actually there's a little bit similarity, okay, but there's a difference, especially to the chemical reactions involved and the products involved for each process. Okay, so again, I will try to ask you what are the two types of cellular respiration. Okay, the anaerobic process or the anaerobic respiration or the aerobic respiration or aerobic process. Okay, so this is our aerobic respiration process. Okay, it starts with glycolysis. Okay, so what do you mean by glycolysis? Okay, it's being considered and studied also in the subject for metabolism in biochemistry. Okay, glycolysis is really a breakdown, okay, of glucoses. Okay, that started from glycogen. Okay, you remember that one? So glycogen is a storage of polysaccharide sugars or polymer of sugars, a group of glucoses. Then if you try to break down that one into several glucoses, okay, through a process of the catabolism, okay, specifically, so that is known glycolysis breakdown. Okay, this is not the anabolism part in which you have to start from the smaller molecules and then you will develop or build up into a large molecules, meaning this is from large molecules going to the smaller molecules. You have to break down the large molecules into smaller molecules. This is specifically glycolysis. So the larger molecules are the glycogen composed of so many glucoses, which are polysaccharides, and it will break into so many monomers or simple sugars, which is glucose. Okay, so the glucose has a formula of, again and again and again, I always emphasize that in my discussion about sugar, that it contains 6 atoms of carbon, 12 atoms of oxygen, 6 atoms of, sorry, 12 atoms of hydrogen, 6 atoms of oxygen. Okay, that is hexoses. 6 atoms of carbon. Okay, hexoses meaning 6, right? So, like that. Okay, so the clue there, if you have 3 atoms of carbon, then your oxygen will be also 3, and then the center will be 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, something like that. Okay, so that is lactic acid, right? C3H6O3, but this is glucose, so 6 atoms of carbon, so 6 plus 6, 12. So if you add 6 plus 6, it will become the center. That's the technique. And the atoms of carbon will be the same for the atoms of oxygen. Okay, that's technique for sugar, especially for trioses, pentoses, and hexoses. Okay, we need to discuss about sugars more, but because we are focusing in the glycolysis mainly for the glucoses. Okay, like that. But also the fructose is the, the galactose will also obey this glycolysis reaction, but the most common is the glucose, really. Okay, not the fructose and the galactose, the maltose. Like most sugars will undergo like this behavior in a process, but for the glycolysis it's mainly the glucose. Okay, so for deeper glycolysis, there's also fructose, something like that. Okay, but that's very deep already for not rare case, but it really, of course, is in our body also. But we are talking for the main glycolysis. Okay, the breakdown of glucoses. Okay, like that. So if you break down the glucoses, it will produce a pyruvate. Okay. So pyruvate meaning it's either a salt or a ester because it ends with ATE, right? As far as we will remember to our study regarding the salt and the ester, right? You remember that one? So it's a result for combining carboxylic acid and a long chain of alcohol, or reacting long chain of alcohol to the carboxylic acid, which is mainly saturated fatty acid, right? So ester. So this is an ester, something like ATE. Okay, in organic point of view, organic chemistry, but in organic chemistry, that is mainly ATE, also salt hydrolysis reaction. Okay, so acid and a base react with each other. The base contains OH, so understood it could be a base. Okay, but it could be also be alcohol because alcohol is also having OH. But in organic chemistry, the more common is the basic have OH, not the alcohols, only for the organic chemistry. But if you try really to insert that principle, it could also be possible. But by normal practice and ideal practice, really, it should be the base, not the alcohol. Because the base also have OH, right? A lot of base, not only repelling to OH, also the sulfates, base also. Okay? If you, sodium sulfate like this, that's base. Okay? Like that. So, if sulfate, that is a salt. If it is a base, like this. Okay? Like that. So salt really will appear upon adding the base and the acid. Okay, like that. So reverse siya. Okay, but we're in organic chemistry. Okay, so again, salts ATE, esters ATE. That's the identification so that you will know or you will not found difficult. Okay, like that to distinguish a substance like that, especially if you encounter that in the book, in your subjects. You have an idea already. ATE is as a salt, okay, or it's an ester. It depends on the subjects you are taking, right? So ASE is an enzyme, ASE, okay? At the end, last three words, for example, pectinase is an enzyme that can be found in the skin of an apple, okay? Something like that, okay? Carboxylase, is an enzyme that can be used in the carboxylic group reaction, something like that, okay? Carboxylase or dehydrogenase is a enzyme found in oxidation and reduction by removing the hydrogen, something like that, because dehydrogenation. Okay? Kinase is an enzyme found in the phosphate donating group with a high energy protein or an ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, something like that. Okay, through the presence of sunlight. Ganon. So that is kinase. Okay. So in the glycolysis, mainly the enzymes are very important also. We will be dealing with enzymes somewhere along the way here, but not yet. We'll go there later on. So we have also, like for example, hexogluconase, something like that. Okay. So there's an ASE. Okay, later we will encounter that one, huh? Okay, and after the pyruvate, it will produce an acetyl CoA. Actually, this is a already shortcut. This CoA is coenzyme. Okay, the meaning of this coenzyme CoA. Okay, and then this acetyl is the abbreviation of acetyl lipoamide. Okay, like this. Like CoA, coenzyme, like this, like blah blah blah. Okay? This is very long. Acetyl dihydrolipoamide coenzyme, something like that, but it's already written in shortcut so that the students will understand. Okay, and the professionals can understand. It's very long term cut already, but if we speak like this, acetyl CoA, this is what we are referring to. It is a large molecule, something like that. Okay, so acetyl CoA is a large molecule, so the responsibility of this is to deliver the acetyl group to the citric acid cycle to be oxidized to produce an energy, something like that. Okay, it's used in many chemical reactions. Okay, especially the carbohydrates and metabolism and the lipid metabolism. Okay, it's used there. You can produce this one. Okay, but the main function for this is really to deliver the acetyl group because it's more acetyl, right, to the citric acid cycle. Okay, like that, and to be oxidized or produce an energy. Okay, so basically this producer of an energy, the acetyl CoA. Okay, like that, and then after that it will go to the Krebs cycle. Okay, the Krebs cycle, this is really a combination of so many chemical reactions that mainly a cycle of citric acid already. Okay, that the aerobic organisms used, okay, to restore the energy through the oxidation of this acetyl CoA. So, right? So they are related with each other. It's coming from there. So after this will be oxidized or process of oxidation. So like this, it will restore the energy in which those aerobic organisms use in a chemical reaction. Okay, there's an organisms involved for this. Okay, for this Krebs cycle. And here in this cycle, so many involve also substances there. I cannot discuss everything there we can discuss this separately because it's very long, like a cycle also, okay? And in here, in the Krebs cycle, it will produce a nicotine, adenine dinucleotide, NAD positive, something like that. Okay, and an NADPH. So this our partner, something like that, okay? And tama ba yan? APH2 or something like that, okay? And I cannot discuss. This is very long. Okay, I will show you later. Okay, and then ATC, electron transport chain. Okay, this is where okay, electron transport chain. The example for this is the APH2. Okay, pwede naman siya mag. Actually, it could be reversed up. It's okay to say DAPH2 or HDPH2, something like that. You will, reverse. It's okay as long as it is the same meaning. Okay, something like that. Okay, and then the ATP also will result here. Okay, the ATP will be formed here because in this ATC, this is an electron transport chain. Okay, so meaning to say we can produce ATP, okay, as a result of the electron being transferred, okay, from the this one ADPH, okay, or the APH2, something like that, or an ATP, something like that, okay, to oxygen gas, something like that, okay, something like that, or shall we say NADH, okay. Actually, in every discussion we have to write so that you can understand, right? But I'm afraid with the time already because I'm time limited now. Oh my gosh, I want to sleep. Charot. Okay, so this is an ATP form because it is a result of the transfer of electrons from the NADH and DADH2, something like that, or DAPH2, something like that. Later I will show you the reaction. Okay, to oxygen gas. So it's in there occurring in the process to the mitochondria. You know mitochondria? Okay, so like this. If you have the, oh my gosh, ganun. Mitochondria. I will show you. I will try to draw the mitochondria. Wait for a while. I have to show you because, to understand further. Okay. Here, if 2 and NADH positive, NADH, this one. If ADH2 and NADH, okay, like this, from the electron transfer from these two molecules to oxygen gas, okay, something like that. So this will occur in the mitochondria, okay, for aerobic organisms. This is aerobic discussion, right? Aerobic respiration. So we are including in the organism. We are also living organism, but we are macroorganism. We are special, okay, human being. Okay, but we undergo the same principle for this aerobic respiration. Okay, something like that. Okay, so I will draw the cell. Charot. Wait for a while, cell. I'll have so like this. This is a cell, for example. Ganun siya. This is a cytoplasm, right? And there is a mitochondria here, like this, like this. Like this. Okay. Mitochondria. Something like that, okay? And this is the cell. Like this, Cell mitochondria, and the cytoplasm. So the glycolysis occurs in this space here, inside the cytoplasm. Okay, the glycolysis here. The breakdown of those glucoses. And this cell is inside our body. Something like that, okay? And it's in the mitochondria, okay, that the electron transport chain will be happening. Something like that, okay, to produce an ATP. Okay? So the ATP will be formed as the result of this transfer of this FADH2 and NADH. Adenosine triphosphate is the main source of energy to all living organisms. Something like that. So if no glycolysis, okay, or there's no electron transport chain, this one, so we will not survive, because how can we achieve the energy in order for us to become strong, to be active? So to produce that ATP is the source of a main energy in the mitochondria, which occurs here. Okay, this is the mitochondria. We have the inner layer of the mitochondria here, the outer layer of the mitochondria, something like that. So it's in there, the transfer of an electron to produce an ATP. So ATP really is the main source of energy. Without that, we cannot survive. Okay? Adenosine triphosphate. Okay? Like that. So it's in there, in the mitochondria. Okay? So the process will be occurring there. Okay? Like that. So since we are talking about the ATP here in the ATC, okay, so it is understood that the ATC will yield ATP after the electron transfer of 2. Okay, so this is the entire, this is the intercellular respiration in order for us to survive, because it produces ATP. Okay, like this. Okay, so the formula of adenosine triphosphate is I'll show you the formula. After the cellular respiration, it can like the carbon, okay, like this, hydrogen, and phosphate. I told you, because this is a phosphorylation, something like that. Okay, because in this mitochondria, there's a reaction, electron transfer. This is specifically undergoing the oxidative phosphorylation in there. Okay, I just not put here because too much putting the words here, okay, in my paper. So in ATC, there's also an oxidative phosphorylation reaction there, okay, responsible for the, for this process to produce ATP, okay, because an ATP has phosphate. See, this is an ATP compound, so phosphate, okay. C, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphate. Okay, something like that. Okay, and phosphate is a salt. Okay, the only salt here is the phosphate, right? So carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, all are useful except for phosphates, and we need to, digest or, remove these phosphates in our body, because it will stuck to the kidney. Okay, it's phosphate. And it will develop stones together with other, salts, magnesium, calcium, oxalate, okay, chromate, oxalate, something like that. A lot of salts will be there, chromates, uric acid, urea, something like that. Okay, and I'll show you also the molecular structural formula for ATP, and then also the general formula. Okay, like this. So we have only 3 sulfur. Okay, ganon. Ganon siya. Okay? In situation like this, if you found out that it's very complicated to put the molecular structural formula arrangement, then memorize. Okay, you have to memorize the pattern of the numbers, because, it's an identification. At least when you draw the molecular structural formula, you can review and analyze. Okay, something like this. We have 10 atoms of carbon, 16 atoms of hydrogen, 5 atoms of nitrogen, 13 atoms of oxygen, and 3 atoms of phosphorus. Okay, or like that. I will show you the molecular structural formula for that. This is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay. adenosine. This will usually it will goes out to the examination, especially if there's biology, because it's related to biology, and then in connection to chemistry. Okay, if there are molecular formula, automatic the chemistry will come in. Okay, that's the point there. So we need to say this biology is really related to chemistry. Okay, then plus the reaction to produce another substances, and since we know that those biological substances also have formula, that's why biochemistry is related to each other, something like that. And the only professionals can best explain that are those, biologists, okay, chemists. They're working together along with the biochemical engineers and the chemical engineers, okay, the genetic engineers also about genes, okay, about process of biotechnology involves the genetic engineering about the transfer of DNA from other organisms to other because it's related to organisms, it's related to biotechnology also. Okay, electron transfer chain, and then cells are the basis also for talking about the genes, and then related also to DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, okay, from all of organisms, and then they will combine with each other to work with each other, okay, in a certain industry, the chemist, the biologist, the biochemical engineers, the chemical engineers, something like that, the genetic engineers, okay, because the genetic engineers will use this recombinant DNA application, something like that. So they will extract the different DNA from different species or genomes, something like that. Okay, and then they will add also DNA for the particular organism, and they will and they will put that in the food products. Okay, then you will observe that the color changes. Involves genetically modified organisms. Okay, example for that are there are yellow rice, brown rice. Okay, yellow rice, brown rice. That's through genetic engineering by using the recombinant DNA application. Okay, transferring or changing or combining the different DNA from different genomes, species, something like that. Okay, so that's why there's a yellow color, red color, brown color, but actually it is the same rice, only they modify the substance, okay, something like that to make it tastier, and I think to make it more healthier, something like that, okay, or to reduce the content that can contribute adverse health effects to the individual if they will eat that one. Okay, because as far as I could remember, brown rice is better than white rice in terms of carbohydrates intake. So the sugar will be lesser of the brown rice compared to the white rice, something like that. So the only people can do that are the genetic engineers by using the recombinant DNA technology, okay, DNA from organisms, okay, something like that. There's a color, you can identify the color really, but the same, something like that. The same name of the fruit or name of the plant or name of the product, but there are different colors. So they are applying the DNA application for that, which is genetically modified organisms or transgenic organisms. Okay, so this is very useful here. Okay, also, it's related to the microorganisms here in the mitochondria. Okay, so they are playing games there like that, and they receive the electrons being transferred there, and they can produce this ATP. Okay, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, because the carbohydrate is coming from adenosine triphosphate. Just think of that. Okay, how can we survive if there's no adenosine triphosphate? Because we get the carbohydrates from here. So, you understand? So meaning to say, if there's no adenosine triphosphate, all people will die because we get the carbohydrates here. Okay? And through this here, we can also gain through the enzyme reactions, the catalyzed reactions to produce also the protein synthesis in our body. So if there's no protein, then there's no carbohydrates, we will die. So that's why we have to understand what's this adenosine triphosphate all about. Okay, this is the main producer of energy we use every day, so that we can work, we can run, we can sing, okay, we can cook, something like that, we can walk, okay, like that. So this is the source of our main energy. The main source of energy, triphosphate, meaning this one. Phosphorus is 3. So triphosphate, tri. Okay? Like that. Okay? So this is the source of carbohydrates. But during the reaction, we get only the carbohydrates formula to produce carbon dioxide and water, right? In photosynthesis. Okay, not the adenosine triphosphate because it's very complicated, my friend. This one. If you try to gather this all and then you use this in the photosynthesis, where this nitrogen coming, phosphorus coming, so it will break a lot. So that's why scientists make it simpler through laboratory experimentation. They analyze this substance, they only pick the most common important components, which are the carbohydrates, 6 atoms of carbon, 12 atoms of hydrogen, and 6 atoms of oxygen, which is mainly the glucose, which is we use in our glycolysis and cellular respiration. See? So there's no cellular respiration if we don't have this adenosine triphosphate because the glucose is coming here. Okay? The initial stage or the raw material for this glycolysis. Okay? Before we intake the rice, the bread, the biscuits, the potato, all sorts of carbohydrates, everything, the starchy foods we eat, the cereals, the wheat, something like that. Okay? All kinds of carbohydrates because it's mainly coming from the food, plants. Okay? Like this. Okay. It's finished, right? But I have to say that after the cellular respiration, we can now produce, this total components that will be obtained from the process of cellular respiration. So we can get sorry. Okay, we can get 10, okay, 10 nicotinamide adenine, okay, like this, dinucleotide, okay, 10, okay, this one, NADH. With it's being hydrogenated because of the electron transfer, okay, as I mentioned a while ago. So it received numbers of electrons being donated, okay, something like that, okay, in ADH, okay, and then we have also 34, ang dami, sobra, 34 ATP, okay, for this. And we have the original 4 ATP also for the glucose breakdown, okay? And the 2 FADH. So these are the products we this one. Variation we obtain 10 in ADH, okay? 34 adenosine triphosphate plus 4 equals to 38 adenosine triphosphate. Wow, imagine. So this formula I give you, it's times 38 pa siya. This one. Imagine there's already 10. 10 times 38. 380. So there are 380 carbons. Okay, that we used in our cellular respiration. You could just imagine, right? So, my gosh. So if we use our imagination, it's very, shocking. There are 380 atoms of carbon we take every day in our system to survive because it's energy. Okay, without this we will be weak, and we will have disease and we will die, right? So hydrogen 16 times 38 because we have 38 ATP and ATP is the adenosine triphosphate and this is the formula. Okay, so 38 times 16. Oh my gosh! Too much. 38 times 5, 38 times 13, 38 times 13. So those are the atoms of ATP we receive in our cellular respiration so that we can breathe properly. Okay, we can inhale oxygen and we can release carbon dioxide. But we need this 38 times of adenosine triphosphate. Okay, as a raw material for effective cellular respiration by using this process. Okay? We just don't know, but this is really operating. Even now, I am sitting, okay? Because if there's no cellular respiration, I cannot talk in front of you, okay? Because I need oxygen to talk, to open my mouth, something like, or to breathe, okay? Like that. So this is the power of cellular respiration. Also improves our healthy lifestyle by understanding for this, okay? Anyway, even me, I cannot really understand fully because I'm not a biology graduate, but I can extract I can extract the basic concept, okay? But I cannot really dig into it because I am not in the laboratory to test everything, This the only way to understand further is to conduct an actual laboratory test, okay? To really identify their behavior, their characteristics, and even their, composition, their quantitative amounts, something like that. See, I said 38 ATP. Oh, so a lot, right? So 38 times 380. So in terms of mass, in terms of volume, like this, in the laboratory, you can determine that, okay? So you have the microscope and all the technology there, okay? Something like so. This is cellular respiration. And this is about aerobic respiration. Now, we will connect that to for example, you are doing the exercise or the workout in the gym. Okay? So now, we need to know that this pyruvate and acetyl CoA in the second process and the third process have also their formula. Okay? And I have to state also the formula so that we can understand how much we really need, something like that, in our system to operate and to function properly inside our system, something like that, okay? Because if it will not meet the appropriate number of carbon atoms like this, then it will not function properly as a pyruvate, as a carbohydrate, as a acetyl CoA, as a protein. Then, so also reason we become weak, okay, because it needs something to be adequate, something like that, okay? Just like the probiotics, right? It's good bacteria. If you eat Yakult, if you eat yogurt or any probiotics sold in the market, okay, there's a good bacteria ingredients. So this good bacteria will help for good digestion, okay? And this good bacteria will fight the bad bacteria, will fight the germs, will fight the virus. Okay? Now, if you regularly eat yogurt every day, okay, aside from vitamin C, flavonoid, okay, and vitamin D, minerals and nutrients, this virus will never, survive, even though you don't have vaccine in your system. Okay? Because vaccine is a treatment. Again, vaccine is a treatment. It is not a prevention. It is not an assurance that when you receive the vaccine, okay, you no longer receive virus, something like that. Okay? Let's make it clear here. Okay? Okay? Again, let's make it clear. Okay? So, vaccination is a treatment, okay? It's a part of cure, okay? It's not a prevention. It is not an assurance that when you receive the vaccine, you will not be, contaminated with those viruses and bacteria like that, okay? So we work more on the prevention, and this discussion really matters a lot, I told you, right? So, for example, okay, this one, okay, flavonoid. Okay, the flavonoid will really fight the bad bacteria and the viruses. Okay, where you can get the flavonoid? You can get this flavonoid through the plants. Okay, especially vegetables like that, especially tomato. Okay, tomato because it has lycopene. Okay, and it has a flavonoid also. Okay, secondary metabolites. Those are antiviral, antibacterial substance. Okay? So that's why flavonoid is inserted in the vaccine. Okay? So if you have that flavonoid in your system, it will kill the bacteria. Okay? Because it has the same composition with the vaccine that you put in your arms. You understand now? Okay? We have flavonoid in our system. That would be enough, okay, to cure us or to prevent us from viruses. Plus, vitamin D, vitamin C, antioxidants, and probiotics. Okay? Probiotics are good bacteria to fight the bad bacteria and the bad viruses. Now, if the virus will stuck to your respiratory for the very first time, it will be killed because you have enough vitamin C, flavonoid, probiotics, plus the red blood cells. The purpose of the red blood cells is to fight also the disease, okay? Because it has leukocytes, phagocytes, and lymphocytes to catch and kill that microorganisms, germs, virus, bacteria. So, meaning to say, if you receive that COVID-19, you have really a weak immune system. Okay, that's the reason behind very weak immune system. Okay, because if, for example, if you try to have statistics, if there are 20 people and you're only one there, okay, and you're always talking with them, okay, and you have the protocols, you have the mask, legs, and everything, cover your face, it's impossible for you to be contacted with that because you have a very strong immune system, and these substances I mentioned really functioning in your system. Okay. That's why I encourage you to eat yogurt. Okay, yogurt like this and probiotics products. Okay, something like that. And a lot of fruits and vegetables, plus healthy diet, exercise, and then personal hygiene. Okay, take a bath, take shower twice a day, like that. Okay, because there are a lot of point of entry